What's going on, guys? Thank you for watching my channel and watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe below for more content like this. Appreciate it. And the biggest way this kind of emasculation is rising is, particularly after the Carlson interview with Nick Fuentes, cancel culture on the right is getting sent into overdrive. Like, conservatives are the censorship party now. In the last 3 weeks, at least, they're the ones who want to, ban and ouster Tucker Carlson as some kind of like Hitler apologist, anti-Semite, which he's obviously not, but that's what they're saying about Tucker Carlson. And this is different from consequence culture, which we'll get to later, which is what we should be leaning into and what the right, I think, did lean into, especially after Charlie Kirk was murdered, but we'll get to that later. But like this whole, adoption of, Marxist language that, quote unquote, platforming. Like, what is platforming? Like, a platform is a noun and you've turned it into a verb. Like, what is that? I don't even, I'm a writer. I write all the time. I know you're not supposed to do that. Like this, mainstreaming, platforming. It's like this is like Orwell wrote about this in 1984. Like, what are you talking about? And it's very concerning, man, because like it is sunk in with people that are really institutional power players. Like I said, Steve Deace, who I love, the Daily Wire guys. And I think they're very positive in that way, or not in that way, but in many other ways, not in this way, obviously. This is this kind of just like this, again, I will say it what it is. It's conservative censorship. It's conservative cancel culture. You can't talk to Nick Fuentes. You can't talk to Tucker Carlson. Really? You can talk to Dave Smith. Dave Smith is like one of the nicest people in the space. All Dave Smith does is, he has strong opinions about things, and when he is against something, he's very against something, and I really appreciate Dave Smith for that. But Dave Smith is gracious to everyone who's given him a platform. He's constantly talking well about people. Tucker is the exact same way. It's like you're going after the wrong people. You're going after the wrong people, and this is a massive problem. It's a massive problem. We need to rebuke this, and we need to get over this right now. Because if we don't head this off at the pass, it will get worse. And so the way I think, the best way to talk about this is that if anyone has heard the analogy or the story of Chesterton's fence, it was a parable told by G.K. Chesterton, who was a British conservative thinker and philosopher, who said, I'll just tell the story real quick. If you are walking through the middle of a field and you see just a stretch of fence, maybe 20 feet long in the middle of the field. The difference between conservatives and liberals, generally speaking, is what they do with the fence. The liberal says, well, that fence doesn't have, any purpose. It's just in the middle of the field. We should just bulldoze it right off the bat. While the conservatives are like, whoa, hold on one second. Like, why don't we think about why this could be here? Maybe it has a utility here. We should conserve it. And this generally makes up the left and right dynamic. And so conservatives are on the side of Chesterton's fence, of that analogy, which basically means don't change something just for the sake of changing something. Like maybe the fence has a purpose there. Maybe that law, that piece of legislation, that that thing, whatever the thing is, has a purpose there, which makes them inherently hesitant when anything new comes on the horizon. That's why, conservatives are more of a reactionary party than a proactive party. And again, there's some problems with that, but I think that's what I want to say is that's why I'm a conservative. This is the correct impulse, and the prudent one, by the way. This is why conservatism, more than for sure libertarianism, for sure leftism, and for sure liberalism, should be the winning ideology on every issue ever, because we ask the questions. Why is this happening? Why is this fence here? Why is this law in there? Let's not get rid of it yet. I'm not. And by the way, I think conservatives can be too clingy on this. We'll get to that in a second, because they often say like, well, we shouldn't move past anything ever given a certain situation. It's like, whoa, that's not what I'm saying at all. And this is what unfortunately has happened on the American right, especially at post Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes interview. Because when this conservative impulse of not bulldozing the fence is weaponized in an unrighteous way, which it certainly is, post Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, this leads to totalitarianism in the vein of clamping down on everything on an ideological lens. When you look at the furthest extension of unrighteous conservatism, which is right-wing fascism, Adolf Hitler, Hirohito, Mussolini, which is so ironic because Hitler's obviously the embodiment of right-wing, fascism in that way. And Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes are getting compared to Hitler, which they're not. And there are a lot of things, but they're not Hitler. We need to be very careful when handling Nick Fuentes and the Groypers. It's like playing with fire. And any tough topic, by the way, that comes to mind. But we cannot completely shut down and shut out that side of the equation. This is not, because, and people are saying, well, it's conservative to not have these ideas discussed at all. No, that's not right. That is not right. That is not conservative. That is totalitarian. That is authoritarian. That is dictatorship. Oligarchy, whatever you want to call it. It's not conservatism. Because conservatism is disciplined. It is not rigid. It is open to change, but only after you press on the change. You need to press on the change. And what is leading to this rise of conservative cancel culture is that conservatives, particularly older conservatives, Gen X, boomers, are being rigid and not disciplined. They don't want to let go of what was formerly the established narrative that you can shut out someone like Nick Fuentes. You don't have to engage. You don't have to even entertain their ideas. Like, yeah, you do, actually. Because Nick Fuentes, like it or not, is very popular, particularly among young men. He's the most popular commentator for young men out there right now. It's not even close. It's not Tucker Carlson. It's not Ben Shapiro. It's not Dave Smith. It's Nick Fuentes. Which is why this is going to lead to disaster if we do not get a handle on this, like, right now. And I want to be, again, I'm trying to be as clear as I possibly can about this. We need to be very stringent when handling real anti-Semitism, which Nick Fuentes is a real anti-Semite. But we also need to know what we're dealing with on the opposite side of that. Because shutting up speech and controlling speech leads to more of that speech being louder and more harmful. Just ask the Capitol rioters on January 6th. They were probably just Facebook moms at one point. Now they're getting thrown in federal prison without bail or parole. So when speech is, like, think about it like you have a pot of boiling water and you want to put a lid on the pot of boiling water when it starts to heat up and when it starts to boil. But when it starts to boil and when it starts to boil over, if you keep your hand on the lid while the steam is rising, while the water's getting hotter, the pot's going to explode after a while, which is what is happening right now. We are conservative. The conservative cancel culture types are two hands on the lid of this Groyper issue, and they are stifling it and stuffing it down, and they're just saying, stay in the pot, stay in the pot, stay in the pot. The pot's going to blow up, man. And it's already starting to blow up. It's already starting to crack, and steam's already starting to get out. So the right way to boil anything, if anyone has cooked anything ever, take the lid off. Let the steam go into the air. Let people say what they want to say so we can have a proper lay of the land in all of these areas and not just be reactionary, people on this topic. Because being reactionary to something like Nick Fuentes and the Groypers, who basically pray and go after reactions in every scenario ever, is not the way forward. It's going to blow up in our faces, and it already is. And we cannot have more of that because free speech, particularly as a conservative, needs to be paramount in everything. And the second we start seeing people start to control that, we need to get ahead of it, and we need to get ahead of it right now.